Hello, good day. Sorry for starting by this time. This section ought to have started by 11 a.m. West African time, but due to some technical challenges, we are just starting now. Thank you for joining this channel. You can share the link for others to join. You can share the link for others to join. Meanwhile, we'll be making some kind of corrections on the streaming. Making some kind of correction on the streaming so that there will not be wrong communication. Okay, so yesterday we started a series. This series is all about building scalable web applications using Python. We hope to discuss some frameworks that can aid our development of web applications, and that we make our web applications to be of great importance with ease but very fast. Okay, so I'll just quickly make some changes. On the screen, you see some of those things we did yesterday. Yesterday we started from HTML. We discussed HTML. We looked at some basic tags in HTML. Also, we're able to look a bit at CSS, where we made reference to inline Css and external Css and internal Css. So just for recap, inline Css is when you use the style attributes in a HTML tag for styling. Why internal CSS, you make use of the scripts, you make use of the style tag. You make use of the style tag, it will aid you make use of the style tag for your development, for your styling. So with that, you can easily style internally, but however, you have to make use of your selectors. So we looked at some CSS selectors, and we came across the fact that we have the tag selector. We have, apart from the tag selector, we have the attribute selector. Then we also have the class selector. We have the class selector. We have, apart from class selector, we have what else selector? We have identity selector. Good. We have identity selector, and we looked at those things yesterday briefly, or you can access our yesterday video or the video of our previous sections on web development. Then you will be able to understand those things a bit. Okay, so today we'll quickly look at Python. We'll be looking at Python, and we'll try to explain those basic concepts we have in Python that can be used, that needed to be that should be understood properly for web development sake. That should be understood for web development sake. So in a bit, I'm just trying to set up my challenge, my environment, the programming environment I'll be using. I'll be using Visual Studio Code just like yesterday, and also I'll make use of Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and on my Visual Studio Code, I'll come to my Python folder. Then I'll have to create a Python file. This I'll just name it main.py. Good, I'll name it main.py. And in Python, we know we have we have data types like ints. So I could say, I have type of this. I use type to get the type of a data type of 7. When I do this, I'll have the data type as int. It has to be printed. Print type of 7. Let's see what we have there. It printed as integer. Good. So integer is one data type. Then we have another data type which is called a float, which is anything that has a decimal point. Good, it's a float. We also have a data type that is called a string. Anything that appears in a single or in a double quote is a string. So if I have this and I say ham plus hub and I run this, I'll have it as a string. Good. If it is in a single quote, it is also a string. We have a data type that is called a list. Anything in a square parenthesis, anything in a square bracket can be a string. It can be a mixture of string and floats. Anything at all. When I do this, I'll have it as what? As a list. So that's for a list. I also have another data type called a tuple. Anything in the normal parenthesis is a tuple. So when I run this, I'll have a tuple. Now I'll just take a little moment to differentiate between a tuple and a list. Now a tuple cannot be edited. It cannot be edited. That's why it is known as it is immutable. But a list can be edited. Okay. Both you can reference to both using the indexing. You can check our Python tutorials and you get more explanation on the data type, and they are explained in a very easy way. Another interesting data type is these that have the curly brackets, and this is called a set. When I run this, you have it as it is a set. Okay. Then finally, let's say finally for this section, we have another data type that is also like a set, but it is different from a set because it has a key to value pair. So I can have this as 1 as the key, then the value is 1, then okay, I have this as the key is greet, so I have the as high, then I have this as I have a key here as location, so I have this this is a this is a dictionary. So when I run this, you discover that I have it as a dictionary. So we've just seen some of the data type. I believe if you have any question, you can ask your question here. And your questions will be answered. Okay. So starting for those in Google Meet, sorry, I forgot to start the Google Meets. Let me just start it now so that you all can join. Okay. So let me allow this Google Meet to go on. Okay. I'm expecting some individuals from the Google Meet. Okay, so why the data type we want to really study in Python is actually on what we call the dictionary. We study the dictionary and we also study tuple. We study dictionary, we also study tuple. Now, why are we studying dictionary and tuple? Because dictionary and tuple, they are actually being used a lot by these frameworks. So if you have the interest of building web application using framework, then you have to understand the concept of tuple. You have to understand the concept of tuple. So when the concept of tuple is understood, then you can gladly build whatever thing you want to build. Okay, so that's by the way. Just a moment. Now, what is a dictionary? Like I said earlier, a dictionary is a data structure or a data type in Python that allows the mapping of key to value. That is to say, every key has a value and you can access the value using the key. Unlike in other data type like list and tuple, that you access the values using the index. In dictionary, you access the value of the dictionary using that particular key. Okay, in another sense, we can look at it like a linked list. We can look at it like a linked list. That okay, a dictionary is actually a linked list, because that is what it implies, is a linked list. So those that did computer science, you understand that in a linked list, each of the keys, they are also linked to a value. Each of the keys are linked to a value. Okay, so we'll be giving examples of dictionary, then we'll proceed to give examples on tuple, after which we'll treat a very important concept, which is on classes. So we'll be very quick with this section, because the section is just for an hour. It's just an hour section. Just an hour section. So if this is our dictionary, for instance, we say Vic. Okay, let me use an example. Students, and in the students we have, each of the students have a name. Okay, it's Anita. They have age, or let me say score, another key for score, and we have 57. Okay, I can access this. I can say print student name, and it will print Anita. Oh, sorry, students, not students. Student's name. Sorry for that. The Anita will be printed. This is just an example of dictionary. I can add to the dictionary, and I can also change the content of the dictionary. Now let me assume I'm changing the name from Anita to student's name goes to Paul. Okay, I'll do this print, that is before the change, students name. So I have this, I'll run this, and I'm expected to see Anita Paul. This is before Anita, the name was changed, but after a while I changed the name from Anita to Paul. So that can be done using lists. That can be done using dictionary, and it is way too simple. It is just way too simple to do that. Okay. Once more, if you have any question, you are very free to communicate to us. You can use, if you're not watching on the live section, you can use the comments Either you drop the comments, or if you don't want to drop the comments, you can contact us on our social media handle. Our social media handle, you just have to use our social media handle is just @HamPlusHub. So when you use the social media handle, we'll get to know your questions, then we'll be glad to also assist you. It might not be a question, it can be a contribution. So if you want to contribute, we'll also be glad to see your contribution. So be free to contribute, be free to ask questions. We are open to learn, we are open for something new. Okay. Okay, so let's just have a little pause for others to come on board, those that haven't joined to join for start teaching on classes. Okay, so that's for a dictionary. Now some might say, how can I add to a dictionary? It is very easy to add to a dictionary. You can use students dots. Now when you use dots dot update, it gives you the opportunity to add to the dictionary. Okay, let me say dot update. What does it do? Dot update. So what am I updating? I'll have to specify the key and the value, or I can even alternatively I can simply add a new key. I have a name score, then I can have subjects, then I have this programming. So when I want to print my dictionary, you find it that I will have dictionary printed, I will have subjects printed. So that's why Python is very easy to use. It is encouraging, and Python makes things very easy. Just a moment, we'll be going straight to using tuple. Then after tuple, we'll be discussing on classes. Okay, so we have tuple to discuss briefly. We'll be discussing on tuple now. So we've seen dictionary. Remember I told you tuple, they are immutable. That is, it cannot be changed. A tuple cannot be changed. So now let's get our hands on tuple. This is Sony on dictionaries. It's on dictionaries. I can comment this out, then I'll get, okay, I'll comment this out, then I get tuple. Remember, tuple cannot be edited, they are immutable. So all I have to do is I need to be sure that I really want to structure my tuple in the way I want it to be structured. Someone can, yes, there's a gimmick on how to edit the tuple. It has to go from tuple to a list or to a set, then have to send it back to a tuple, of which most cases I prefer a tuple goes to a list, then from a list to a set. Now if I have these same students as this, I pick this and I have this as my students, but I have this, okay, I wouldn't have the keys, I won't have the keys, I have this. This is a tuple, so I can access this content. If it prints students, then I specify indexing in Python starts from 0. Indexing in Python starts from 0. Then it gives me what that first element, Anita. Good. Okay, this is a tuple. Now briefly we'll look at why tuple is not editable. If I have tuple this, I say students dash this is equal to Paul. Let's watch what it will give me. Even if I try to run this program, it will throw an error. Tuple object does not support item assignment, so it can't be, except in a situation I turn this to a list. Let me see this. You turn this to a list, then you can print what? Print students. Print students 0. Okay, so when I run this, let's see what it's going to give us. Printed Anita. This was the first time student 0 okay, that is it. So I have to be first an assignment. This, you pick this out. Then you have this, where you can do your assignment. Students is equals to list students. Okay, I think you have your Anita and Paul now. Good. So you see this, then I can turn it back to a tuple. That is the way you can edit a tuple. That's the way you edit a tuple. But going straight from being a tuple without typecasting it or changing it to being a list, you cannot edit a tuple. Okay, so as time is far ahead, let's look at classes. Now, before we look at classes, we would like to know what is a class. Actually, a class is just a blueprint. It's just a blueprint of an object. That is to say, a class is the constructor of an object. The class is the constructor of an object. Then what is an object? An object, say, is the instance of a class. Okay, so let's get this right. I have an object. It has different properties. So if I want to make a blueprint of that object, I just have to make use of what? Have to make use of my class. Okay, let's put in mind, for example, an object. A car is an object. So I want to model this car. I can have a class I call car. Then what are those things that a car normally have? I'll call them as the properties of the car, which I can see them as the variables of the car. Then what the car does, or what you can use the car for, I can look at them as the methods of the methods of the car. Now, a method is a function, but the difference is that the method is inside the class. Sorry, I have to take my water. A method is inside a class. Okay, so I will have an example of a class. Let me create a new file. I'll say class.py, class.py. I have it this way. Then I want to define a class and using car as an example. So I'll start with the keyword class. That's how we define a class, and it is a convention that the keyword is the name of the class starts with a capital letter. I'll have this way. I can define my class this way without specifying the parameters. I can do it this way. So let's go this way. Then I can have the properties or the variables. I can say, okay, the speed, the car has a name. So name is equal to Toyota. And I can also have the year, that is the model, is equal to 2022. Okay, so this, I can have this as my car, and I can define a function in it. This is a method. Actually, I can say, what is the method? The method is let me say car underscore type. Good. And I'll have it this way. So it will take the set variable, then I'm defining it now. So it will print what I want it to print. I just wanted to print this, the car type is then it will print what? The name. Good. It will print name for me, but I can't actually use name, but I'll use self.name. So it will print self.name for me. Okay, then if I want to get this, I say car year, maybe another method car year, which is self. It's using the self. Now if can I use what is not self? Can I use what is not self? Someone might be asking me. I'll show you that a moment. The print for me, print the model of the car is okay. Then what I want is self dot what dot model. Okay, good. So I have just defined my class, and I want to make a simple example here. I want to show you that I can use this to perform class, to create a class without specifying the variables in the arguments, or let me call it the argument here, the arguments of the class. Okay, I have what I just want is okay, print. I want it to print. What will it print? It will print car dot name for me. I want you to print car dot name. I run this. Let's see what it is going to give us. It prints Toyota. That's the name of the car. Car dot name Toyota. Okay, so if in a situation I want this to print this, I say print car dot what car type. I want the car type to be printed. Good. This is now a method. So when I run this, it's to print. Okay, one missing argument. It's missing an argument. Okay, let me see. Let me get this right. Good. It prints this for me. It prints this, and I can't decode what this is. So that's why when you're printing, when you are specifying this, you have to what? Specify. You have to create the car properly. Else you can print this attribute, you can print this, and that's all. So this prints, it tells me it's a function. It tells me it's a function. Okay. So someone might be thinking, because I did not use return, so let me use return, and let's see how it goes. And same thing. So it's simply because I did not specify the class properly, but you've seen that I can create a class even without specifying the attributes. Now the argument, now I'll give you the proper way and the standard way to create a class. Now if I'm creating this class, I have this, I'll have this. First it will pick self. Now pick self. Now I know it will have a name, it will have a model, right? It will have a name, it will have a model. And what will it have again? It will have let me leave it as this way. It will have a name, it will have a model, and let me put it okay, plants. Let me say plants. Okay, where it was assembled. Now what I have to specify is self.name, self.model, of which it will be name. So it will pick that. Then it will be what? Model. Okay, so let me see what's wrong here. Self is not defined. It is self.name, not name.self. Okay, good. I know why this is happening this way, simply because I have not done the init. I have not done the init. So the first function I have is what? The init function, which is this. So I have this init function. So this is my car. I have this init function, which is taking self. Is taking what? Self. Good. So I can have my, let's leave this.